Hey everyone, I'm Neha from Indiahikes and you've tuned into Tech Pro Tips with Neha. In this video, I'll be telling you how to reach the Dehradun city, and my tips will help you plan your travel easily, quickly and more cost effectively. If you're planning a trek in Uttarakhand, most treks will require you to come to either Dehradun or Rishikesh. These are the two major start points from where you'll be taking a road journey to head to the base camp of your trek. So in this video, I'll be focusing on how to get to Dehradun. So treks like Har Ki Dun, Rupin Pass, Kedarkantha, Borasu or Bali Pass, Gaumukh Pass, all these treks will require you to come to Dehradun first. For Rishikesh, I've made a separate video, so you can check out the link in the description below. So if you're going on treks like Valley of Flowers or Pangarchula, Kuari Pass, all these treks will need you to come to Rishikesh first. So check out the link for that. But in this video, we'll be looking at how to get to Dehradun. And there are many ways to get to Dehradun. However, keeping in mind that it's not just the journey, but the fact that you'll have to trek after that makes it very important for you to plan smart. And that's where these pro tips will help you out. I'll be talking about the best way to get to Dehradun by flight, bus and train. So let's get started. When you're planning your travel to Dehradun, you can go by flight, bus or train. And before I dive into the travel tips of each of these different options, I want to start by giving you my biggest and perhaps my most important pro tip. And that is to plan your journey in a way that you come to Dehradun a day before and rest the night there. You can take your journey from Dehradun to the base camp the next day morning. The reason I'm emphasizing so much on this is because earlier at Indiahikes, we would ask our checkers to take the overnight transport to reach Dehradun. So they'd reach early morning, right in time for their pickup that will take them to the base camp. That seemed very convenient to be able to connect the journey that way, but we've realized in the last many years that this actually does more harm than good. You see, you'll be constantly traveling. Right from the time you leave home, you'll take a flight, you'll take this overnight transport to reach Dehradun, and then immediately from Dehradun, you're taking this long road journey to head to the base camp. And usually these journeys are easily 10 to 11 hours. So for almost 36 hours, you're constantly traveling, constantly on the go, and this is a complete killer on the trek. I've seen trekkers feel extremely tired and drained out from the long journey. They often feel lethargic and they're not able to fully enjoy the trek. So you would have traveled all this way to come to the trek that you cannot enjoy. And that is why this night at Dehradun is very crucial. Getting a good 8 hours of sleep on a proper bed makes a lot of difference when you eventually get on the trek. So it's very important that you come a day before. Another benefit is that if you're coming a day before, then you're sure to reach your pickup on time. Because if you're taking the overnight transport, sometimes I've seen that trekkers, they get delayed because their overnight transport has some sort of delay and then they end up missing the pickup early morning. So you can avoid all that hassle simply by coming a day before. So with that as the premise, let's start by looking at the different options that you have on how to get to Dehradun. So the first option is the flight. Now this is the quickest and the easiest option because nowadays most big cities, metro cities have direct connections to Dehradun. So if you're able to get a direct flight and it's not too expensive, then I would ask you to book to Dehradun. From the Dehradun's Jolly Grant airport, the city is just about 32 kilometers away. The reason getting to Dehradun by flight is the easiest and the quickest way to go about it is because most flights to Dehradun will reach by 3-4 in the afternoon or latest 5 p.m. in the evening. So this means you have plenty of time to get to the city, reach your hotel or hostel, rest the night there, and that is why getting to Dehradun by flight is my first option for you. So if you're flying to the Dehradun airport, then I would ask you to take either the prepaid taxi or the bus to reach the city. It's just 32 kilometers. So if you're taking a prepaid taxi, it's a bit expensive. That will cost you about 1,000 rupees to head to the city. So I would recommend it only if you're traveling in a group of say 5 to 6 people, then you can share the cost. But my pro tip for you is that if you find co-passengers on the flight who are looking to go to Dehradun, then you can actually travel with them and share the costs. But if you want to save some money, I would ask you to take the bus because it's quite easy and convenient. You just have to either walk it out or take an auto to head to the main road. So from the airport, you'll have to walk about half a kilometer to the entrance of the terminal complex. From there, you'll probably get an auto. If you're not getting an auto or if you want to walk it out, you can actually just walk another 1.5 kilometers to the main road. Once you reach the main road, you'll be able to flag down buses that are going to Dehradun city, and it'll cost you only 50 rupees. So it's a really good deal if you're planning to stay on a low budget or you want to save some money. If you're finding the flight to Dehradun a little expensive, and it can be, book your flight to Delhi instead. It's considerably cheaper, almost by 2,000-3,000 rupees, but it really depends on when you're booking your flights. And my pro tip for you would be that if the flight tickets between Dehradun and Delhi are less than 1,000 rupees, then book to Dehradun, because the rest that you'll get by heading to Dehradun sooner will be a lot better than you coming to Delhi. But in case it's more than 1,000 rupees, then book your flight to Delhi, because there are equally good options of reaching the Dehradun city in good time. So let's look at what you'll need to do when you're flying to Delhi. So if you're flying to Delhi, you'll be either taking a bus or a train to head to Dehradun. And I would first talk about the bus option. From Delhi, it takes about 7 to 8 hours to reach Dehradun. So with the buses, I'd ask you to target reaching Dehradun city by 8 o'clock in the evening. That way you can backtrack and book your tickets accordingly. I'd recommend reaching Delhi by about 10 o'clock in the morning. That way by noon, you'll be able to catch a bus from Delhi to head to Dehradun. You'll get this from the Kashmiri Gate ISBT bus stand, and you have both AC and non-AC buses. The AC Volvo buses would cost you about 750 rupees. Now, in case you're not able to reach in early morning and your flight is reaching say by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you can still take the bus option, but there's a convenient train that leaves the New Delhi railway station at 3:20. So if you're reaching by 1 o'clock, then you can catch this 3:20 train, that is the Jan Shatabdi Express, and it'll reach Dehradun by 9:10. It's a little late because by the time you reach your hotel, it'll easily be 10:30. But you can take the train because it tends to be slightly less taxing than sitting in a bus. However, given that you're reaching a lot later in Dehradun, you won't get as much as rest or sleep as you would perhaps by taking the bus. So I'd always recommend the bus first. That's my pro tip for you. But in case you're reaching a little later, you can also choose to take the Jan Shatabdi Express. If your flight to Delhi reaches a lot later into the day, that means you'll be taking the overnight transport from Delhi to Dehradun. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned that this is not something that I'd recommend because an overnight transport always tires you out. But if you're not able to work out any of the other options that I mentioned earlier in the video, take this overnight transport, but be sure to use the pro tips that I'll be telling you in the next couple of minutes. That way, you'll be able to plan your travel from Delhi to Dehradun smartly, even with the overnight transport options. My first option for you would be to take the bus from Delhi to Dehradun. Now, the buses, because they're traveling in the night, they take a lot lesser amount of time. So this means that in about 6, latest 7 hours, you'll be reaching the Dehradun city. So it gives you plenty of time to rest on the bus and you're in time for your early morning pickup. The second option would be to take the train, and I would recommend the Nanda Devi Express. This leaves around midnight, 11:50 to be exact, and it reaches Dehradun at 5:40 in the morning, a little before your early morning pickup. So with the trains, I'd recommend the Nanda Devi Express, but my pro tip for you, do not book the overnight Mussoorie Express. That train is notorious for delays and a lot of trekkers have missed their early morning pickup because it's always late. So make sure if you're taking the train, take the Nanda Devi Express. If you're not getting a ticket in the Nanda Devi Express, take the bus. Now, one reason that I usually prefer the bus over the train is because when you take the Nanda Devi Express, you're starting your journey at midnight. By the time the TT comes, checks your tickets, it's easily 1:30 in the night, and you're barely getting a few hours of sleep before you reach Dehradun. So though people think that you're having a more comfortable journey because you have a berth to sleep on, you're actually not getting that much rest. So that is why I'd recommend the bus. You'll take 6 hours, you'll get enough sleep, and you'll reach the pickup also on time. So keep these options in mind when you're planning your overnight journey. With that, you have all the options that you need to know when you're planning your travel to Dehradun. My first option for you would be to fly directly to Dehradun and then head to the city. Otherwise, you can fly to Delhi and take the bus or the train option to head to Dehradun. Now, if you have any doubts or any questions, just drop in a comment and I'll get back to you. You can also write to me personally at neha@indiahikes.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter because we're constantly posting about relevant trekking information. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit on the bell icon next to it. Thank you.